Have you ever watched someone get promoted and quietly thought, wait a minute, I know I was ready for that too? Have you ever worked hard, carried the load, solved the problems, stayed late, showed up early, and still felt like your name was not being mentioned when opportunities came around? If so, I want you to know this. You are not alone, and you're not necessarily unqualified. But you may be missing some of the unwritten rules. Hi, I'm Phyllis Wright. I am the founder and CEO of Wisdom in Action Coaching. I am a retired senior leader, mentor, coach, and someone who has spent more than 40 years watching talented people rise, stall, recover, reinvent, and step fully into their next level. Today, we are talking about why smart people get passed over, and we're going to deal with it in honesty, but with hope. Many of us were raised on a simple career formula: work hard, do good work, keep your head down, and let your work speak for itself. Now, let me be clear: excellence matters, integrity matters, character matters. Doing the work absolutely matters. But here's the wisdom piece. Your work can speak, but it may not speak loudly enough in rooms you are not in. That is where many capable professionals get stuck. They are dependable, they are productive, they are the person everyone calls when something needs to get done. But when decisions are made, their name is not necessarily at the top of the list. Point one, excellence is the foundation, not the full strategy. Look, excellence is the price of admission, but excellence alone is not always enough to advance. You have to connect your work to impact. It's not enough to say, I worked hard. You need to be able to say, here is the problem I solved. Here is the value I created. Here is the risk I reduced. Here is the team I strengthened. And here is the outcome I helped make possible. Let me be clear, that is not bragging. That is leadership communication. Point two, visibility must be intentional. Some professionals confuse visibility with self-promotion, and because they do not want to look arrogant, they disappear. But visibility with integrity is not arrogance. It is stewardship of your contribution. You can humbly share progress. You can professionally communicate outcomes. You can let leaders know where you are adding value. You can make your work easier to understand, remember, and advocate for. Point three, relationships matter. One of my core beliefs is simple. Relationships do indeed matter. Now, I'm not talking about fake relationships, not manipulation, not playing politics in a way that compromises your values. I'm talking about purposeful, professional relationships that are built on credibility, trust, mutual respect, and service. A mentor talks to you, an advocate talks about you, and a sponsor may help open doors for you. Many talented people have mentors, but they do not have advocates or sponsors. There is a career gap. in that scenario. Point four, emotional intelligence is a career accelerator. Some smart people get passed over because they're technically excellent, but emotionally unaware. They know the answer, but do not always read the room. They are right, but the timing is all wrong. They have insight, but the delivery creates resistance. Emotional intelligence is not about shrinking yourself. It's about increasing your effectiveness. It is learning when to speak, hear me, how to speak, who needs to hear it, and what matters most in the moment. I have a few questions that I want you to reflect on. Do people understand the value you bring, or do they only know that you're dependable? Do you have relationships with people who can speak to your readiness even when you're not in the room? Am I communicating my impact clearly, confidently, and consistently? If you have been feeling overlooked, I want you to pause before you make it mean that you are not enough. Sometimes the issue is not your ability. Sometimes the issue is your strategy. This week, choose one contribution you have made and practice explaining it in terms of impact. Hear me, not activity, impact. That is wisdom in action. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who has been quietly carrying the load and wondering why they are still invisible. And if you are ready to move from invisible to indispensable, stay connected with Wisdom in Action Coaching. Until next time, take care.